Hi, Gloria Liebecker here with Healing You Sanctuary. As I've been making these videos, I'm taking the time to watch them again later myself. And when I'm doing this process, I'm actually getting to know myself better. Because one of the things that happens, having this human experience and being on this journey, is beginning to really recognize the subtle whispers that my shadow self might be telling me about myself. And so watching myself on video could be painful unless I have my compassionate presence with me. And even then, there's times where the shadow self, it sneaks right in there. So an example of that in day-to-day life is even when we're just going through our day, we are experiencing the real life version of your video, right? You're going through your day, you're taking action steps, you're thinking thoughts, you're being relational, maybe not so relational. Do you notice what your shadow self says to you? Our shadow self, the shadow parts of us, the parts of us that, when we step into them, we're being who we really are not. That's been really powerful for me to recognize that truth. When I'm stepping into that energy of one of my shadows, one of the conditions that were imprinted upon my being without me being aware that it was happening, just being molded by my experience of this life. That actually is known as our default mode network. And it plays everything back. And it tells us who we are and what we're supposed to do and what we're supposed to look like and who we're supposed to hang out with. And the litany goes on and on and on. And many times it can be telling us about ourselves. And so when I make these videos, bringing it back to my experience, I would notice when those subtle whispers of my shadow self would start to emerge. Especially if I'm out in the bright sunshine. Well, I could see my wrinkles so much more clearly, especially on my upper lip, and I was shocked and appalled. I thought, oh no, I'm getting wrinkles on my lip, with lots of exclamation points after it. Well, as I took time to be with that inner shock and shame and horror, I could slow it down. And I could begin to hear an earlier experience in my life. Where did this whisper begin? Where did this pattern start? That I would have this sense of inadequacy, of not being enough as I am, or that I'm supposed to be something other than I am. And for all of us, we're going to have a different belief system. What I want to invite you to begin to do is to notice what you believe about yourself. Take some time to sit with it. And in that process, what I'm finding to be very helpful, I've kept a gratitude journal for years, and this has a slightly different flavor to it. When I notice one of my shadow aspects, that's running a message that I'm inadequate, or I'm not enough, or I'm unworthy. I mean, the litany is long. Then I can slow down and I can begin to notice. Well, first I want to just say I can be grateful that I can see it and that I can hear it. Because when I can actually recognize it instead of being it, when I can observe it, I can be empowered to stay relational rather than buying into the story. My little dog just came in and she keeps growling because she wants me to keep petting her. Her name is Polly. Would you like to say hi? See Polly? She's a sweetheart. She is. She likes to hang out with me when I have clients in the house. So she's a little therapy dog. Aren't you, Polly? Yeah. It's nice to have accompaniment in lots of different forms and ways. So when I can slow down, then I can actually express, and I do this in writing. I journal about it. So when I saw this video of myself, well, actually I've done it with a couple of different videos, but when I saw the wrinkles, that was really shameful. I just like, oh my goodness. You know, who wants to do this thing called aging? Well, I'd like to do it with some grace. I'd like to, yeah, I'd like more grace in my experience of aging. So what I wrote, I'm going to read it to you, is I wrote, "Thank you for allowing me to see myself anew, to see beyond the superficial surface and judgment that I'm ugly, to deepen into the heart of my soul." So when I have a practice that supports me to continue to come back to my heart and to be relational with compassion for my experience, there's something that happens in my inner being, in my state, in my sense of self. And what I recognized, what was the unmet need? Well, I needed some kindness. Looking at my notes, I needed the experience of self-love, of self-connection. And so the quality of that, what quality would that be? Would be the kindness, to be kind to me. And so then what I do is like a little rewind within myself as I just drop into my body and I reflect back as I was watching that video and I'm out in the full sun and I could see spots on my face and wrinkles on my lips. What I actually see now, I see a kind grandmother who transparently shares her life lessons with the world because it's important and it's meaningful and because she wants to make a difference. And so then I ask myself, what authentic action can I take that's going to really support the repair internally that I was needing? So my request of myself was to make this video, make a video about aging with grace. And so as we age and we hopefully mature, in my experience, I begin to see and notice so many more things that I didn't realize I could when I was younger. And there's, of course, many things that I'd love to be able to share with others. I would like others to be able to have access to more and more resources to support their learning and growth, especially when people have experienced trauma, where they've been alarmed and alone. I want there to be accompaniment and warmth and care. So rather than listening to that default mode network or that shadow self that says disparaging things about you, begin to, how would it be if you could welcome that part of you? Say, oh, I see you. And I can hear you. I can hear your pain, really needing belonging, really needing inclusion, really needing acceptance right where you are. And there's a shift that happens right there inside of me when I recognize how important that way of being is in our world. So how do we get there from A to B? Because there's a gap in between those two ways of being. Again, it's for slowing down, is actually beginning to hear it and journal about it. Write down what it is. What is the unmet need? What is it that you would have, your younger version of you would have liked to have experienced? And follow that thread, follow that path back to your heart. And then you can express gratitude. Gratitude for being able to now see this pattern or this quality, so that you can welcome it home, so it can be welcomed into the light of who you truly are. And then write about it again, and then put those qualities in the journal. It's a little bit of a time travel empathy experience in what I've discovered. And I like time traveling. I want to be able to catch all of those different parts, so they really do experience being welcomed in this life. I'm really enjoying you being along on this journey. And I am going to start looking in the mirror and telling myself kind things, acknowledging different things that I'm doing each day, so that when I see myself on video, I recognize myself with grace. And I celebrate that I am a grandmother and that I am a kind woman, and I will be kind to Gloria too. So how can you be kind to yourself today? What might that look like for you? Why don't you go ahead and go to healingyoursanctuary.com and fill out or click on the link where you can have a free conversation with me, and we'll have a chat about what that might look like. I'd love to support you.